Thank you all for listening again on the Social Work Race podcast. It's Curtis here. This particular podcast, this particular episode is going to be a little bit different. And I'm going to tell you about my week. I want to summarize my week because I'm all about educating and supporting and educating about what it's like in real life in the social work race. So thanks again for joining, and stay tuned to the end because I'm going to give you a link to how you can do more with the Social Work Race podcast. So today is Friday, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to do a day in a life, or a week in the life of a social worker, right? Working in the assessments team for children's service, children and families, yeah? It's going to be very kind of, down to earth. The temperature is currently 1 degrees. It's been a cold week. Luckily, I drive, so I can't complain. Yeah, it's cold. I drive. I'm blessed. You know what I mean? This week has been an up and down week because I've done a few extracurricular things. Last night, which was Thursday night, I got home at 2:00 in the morning because I had to do someone a favor, you know. So I came in today and I'm real tired. And I've done a few visits today. I did a visit today, actually. It was a section, no, it was a family that were at first resistant to meet, but I've twisted their arm to meet me. And it turned out to be a really good meeting, actually. And I ended up meeting them in public, or in a public place. And yeah, it was an incident of domestic abuse. Yeah, and it turned out to be really positive, and the parent was shaking my hand at the end and saying, thanks, you're really nice, blah, blah, blah. And I appreciate that. And you just never know. There's so many little lessons that you can pick up. You just never know who you're going to meet and how they're going to be. And you read on paper who and how and their history, but actually they can often be just really nice people. I've just left work and I'm driving home, and my journey home is about an hour, and on a Friday, it's about an hour and 15 minutes. Let me go to the rest of the week. I've had some ups and downs this week, and I guess it being in the assessment team, what happens is we've got our normal workload, which is literally like you've got your child and family assessments and other bits and bobs, but what can happen is, especially when you're on duty, is that you will receive new cases, but they can be Section 47 cases, right? And although the managers or the duty team do try to distribute them equally, sometimes more 47s come in than they're looking at the case, and I'm totally cool with it, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Everybody's short on social workers, and they're thinking, who can we give this to? And I hear their conversations. Who can we give this to? Because everybody's got enough. And, you know, when you're giving social workers too much work, they're looking for the back door to run out of. Do you know what I mean? But I had a few cases given to me that were not on my duty week. And that's new for me in social work anyway, but that's what it needs to be sometimes. And so 47s have come in, and we have to generally we'll go out on a visit immediately, or, you know, a day or two later. But it's basically although it's a shorter version, it's another assessment on the assessments that you have. Some of the assessments I've produced, I wish I could have done a better job. And so it's a lot of reviewing it with line management. You know, did you ask this question? Did you do this or that? And I've produced a lot of assessments in a short space of time, which I don't like because it doesn't get the best. Although it's insured, the best is insured, it's just not a nice feeling to know that you're not producing your best, you know. And I've had a high caseload of late. You can hear the ambulance coming now. A lot of traffic on the way home. It's dark. I don't want you to sound like I'm complaining. Do you know, actually, I love meeting new families and seeing new challenges. Although the challenges are of a nature where people are suffering, I do kind of have a love for that type of work. And I also have this ability to kind of get on well with parents and actually sell them a new version of what social work is. And I was having a conversation with a mum today, and she was saying that a previous social worker she had was just so clinical, and she didn't make any real good connection with them. But with me, I'm really selling that, we're here to help. And once they meet me, they generally I really put a lot of effort into that. But I recognize also there was one thing about myself, and I had it was an interesting dispute between myself and another, not dispute, discussion, because we're co-working a case with my colleague. She's doing one end of it and I'm doing the other end of it, and that's the way it needs to be. And we've got different, intentions, and there's a word I'm looking for. We've got a different set of tasks for the same person. We have to have different outcomes. Our assessments are different for the same person. And I had to admit, look, I'm going to be honest with you. The reason why I'm going the extra mile is because I have a savior complex. I like to fix people's lives. I like to fix people. And there's pros and cons to that, because when the parents get wind of you with that type of desire to, and I told the parents, I said, look, I'm going outside of my job role here because I'm only here to ensure safety, but I want to help you organize your life so that you can be better off and things can be well with you. And I feel they need to make that happen or to support that process. And it is taken over taking time from other work that I need to do. Do you understand? So that was an interesting dispute that we both had. And then the other colleague was like, look, no, just tick the box because that's your job today. For this case, that's all you need to do. And I was battling with it, and I just realized that in this particular case, if I go any further, it's gone beyond my capacity, And the fact that if you've got good colleagues that you can talk to and wrestle with, and this colleague of mine, she's an excellent social worker, and she hasn't been a social worker that long, but she is excellent. And I mean, she's worth more than she's getting paid, and we work well together. We have a laugh, we have a bit of banter, and we can hold each other to account when we are in dilemmas. And you need that in your job. You need someone to knock heads with, you know what I mean? So she held me to account to understand that I'm trying to save the family. And then I was also saying to her, you need to be more strategic. Don't tick the box, but be more strategic in your approach to the family so that what you do works. And that is a dilemma. You're working with humans. If we try to fix them, we're going to leave other families in deficit. And that's one of the major challenges I've had this week. The other major challenges, as I mentioned before, was I haven't produced my best. Normally I can handle, my assessments won't require much adjustment. But this week they have, and I felt, I've not been feeling good about that. And that's a week in the life of a social worker. I'm on my way home and I plan to do 0 tomorrow. I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to go to the sauna, and then I'm going to take some time out. And I hope nobody calls me for anything. I mean it. We were all in the office today, and we were saying, what's your plans for the weekend? It's always the question on a Friday. What's your plans for the weekend? And it was, about 3 of us were like, as little as possible. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we have to take time out for ourselves, guys, because come Monday, the world and life does not have any mercy. And I think that, when you're working with humans, you have a desire and a need to work with them and get the job done, plus the paperwork. And people will keep telling you in social work, take some time out for yourself, take some time out for yourself. And sometimes, I remember in my previous role, I didn't know how to do it. Someone's calling me. Sorry, I got cut off there because someone called me. So interesting, people are always going to tell you, take time out for yourself. And I remember it being in a previous role. How do you do that when the workload doesn't allow you? Well, does it not allow you? It doesn't seem to allow you to do that. there is always more work than you can do in social work. I intend to be resilient in this, but I can see why people are limited. But we have to do at least one thing that is meaningful in our lives besides social work. I've got colleagues that, working 2-3 hours overtime. That's crazy. You can't do that forever. Do you know what I mean? And for parents, as social workers, how do you do that? And that's something you've got to work out. Find the right team and the right role for you. Yeah, don't just think that you've got to sit there and take it. And I think this is a topic for another day, actually. We'll come to that. But I hope this was helpful. I mean, this was just an insight in a very real insight into how I feel this week. I consider myself to be reasonably resilient because I've got an extensive history, and I just think I'm born like that. I'm partly built for this job. Lots to learn. And I can take a pounding emotionally and mentally. But I also recognize that I need my Saturday and my Sunday to make it to Monday, So you got to look after yourself and reflect on what you need to do or what you can do to look after yourself. It could be anything from just literally a hot bath of Radox, you know what I mean? At least one thing that you do for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to struggle in this game, yeah? Take care of yourselves, guys, and I hope to speak to you again very, very soon.